It does feel crazy when you look at our current champions, but eventually we shall have a brand new WWE title holder. That's right, for anyone that watches all my videos, I am still hosting the majority of them wearing my Progress Proteus title. I don't even care, man. People are going, "Simon, you're such a nerd, you're such a mark, you're such a geek." Of course I am. Look at my face. But it actually ties into the massive run that Roman Reigns went on, because it lasted 1,316 days. So eventually we all kind of went shrug emoji. Well, I guess he's going to hold that until the day that we die. That was actually really smart, because now that championship means something, and Cody Rhodes is doing exactly the same thing. I know there are some naysayers out there, which is totally fine, but when you do sit down and ponder, it's a bit like, well, who is going to take that thing off him? I mean, The Rock could be the guy, but even then you'd have to presume that Cody Rhodes will win it back. But even if that does happen, there is somebody else in 2025 who should be the brand new WWE champion, and it is Randall Keith Orton. Why? Here's why. Now, once again, everything with Cody does have to go through WrestleMania 41 and The Rock. While there are some people going, "Oh, it could be Rhodes versus Randy Orton at that show," I don't think you can get away with that. I mean, we had that Raw after WrestleMania 40 when The Rock gave Cody Rhodes a present. You just got to go with it. The other part of all of this is that we can be patient because we have a roster full of stars. Eventually it will be May, and we will be in the WrestleMania lull, and if you can't pull the big guns out of your pocket, well, everyone's going to be a sad panda. You want to surf that momentum all the way to the bank. The Mania season is so bonkers that things come out of anywhere, so if you can plant seeds now and then go and fire the trigger, everybody is always going to be interested in Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton, especially because if you are watching SmackDown right now, what has happened? It's just tease, 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 tease. It's also one of the best relationships in the entirety of WWE. And I'm not just talking about over the last couple of years. We can get in a time machine and travel through history. Because Cody has talked about this a lot, because when he first broke in, he kind of looked up to Randy Orton as some kind of a mentor. Now, back then, Randy was a little bit crazy, but there is a reason that Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase Jr. were put in that legacy stable, because that was the kind of atmosphere that WWE was trying to create. There's a small trivia piece. Management at the time thought that Ted DiBiase Jr. was going to be the star, and Cody was going to be nothing. You wonder why he left in 2016. Even then, though, Randy was walking around going, "Ignore all that noise. Cody will one day be a champion." You can Google this right now. There are interviews out there. He believed in this guy. It's almost like Randy Orton is a full-time performer, and he knows talent when he sees it. It's also why he probably wanted to guide Cody through the terrifying pathways of WWE. I mean, Ric Flair and Triple H had essentially done that to Randy. That's called the circle of life. That's what the Lion King was talking about. And then, do you know what happened? We just talked about it. Cody left the WWE, and while I'm sure the real life version of Randy Orton was like, "Good on you, kid, you totally smashed it," because he did change the business. If you do the feud, these two love inside a baseball. They're basically baseball bats. So they can hit this so hard, and all can be like, "Oh, Cody, you just walked back into WWE after I tried to help you. I spit on your face. Don't do that." So eventually Rhodes will of course be dropped by an RKO, and then Randy can pick one of these 67 reasons to justify why he did what he did, especially because what did you do at WrestleMania 38, Cody? You just walked back in like nothing had happened, and that's when I was basically out injured with my back, and it was a short time after that. But still, do you know how hard it was watching all of this from home? I tell you, I can't wait. From there, do not hold back either. You talk about the early days, you talk about the legacy days, you talk about the 2016 days, you should even make a little bit of a reference to AEW. And of course, none of this is true. I want to make that clear because I know what the comments are like. Orton doesn't really think this, but you will be able to work a huge size of your audience. It's also going to have that reality feeling because we will be using things from the real world, and then we need to get to that match. Obviously, you've already figured this out, otherwise you're not listening, which is fine, as long as you push play, what do I care? Randy Orton should win and become the WWE champion. And yes, sure, I know, people go, "Yeah, but then by Simon, what if The Rock or Roman Reigns has taken it back?" I don't care. As long as Cody has that belt and he loses it to Randy and you sell it with the right emotion, nobody remembers the past. We're nerds and we focus on the future. The point is, it's still gonna hit like crack. Shouldn't have said that. There is also the other part of all of this though, and that is the fact that Randy is a legendary performer, and before he does hang up his boots and retire, you have to think you're going to give him one more reign, as we all say he deserves it. So if you're going to do that, let's go with emotion. So once again, let them go crazy with this forbidden fruit. And when we go back to this conversation, when you look off into the distance and ponder, well, who can beat Cody Rhodes? It's Randy Orton. I don't care he's 45 years old, whatever he is. I don't care he's won the belt 67 times before. All I care about is that we do the right thing. Sometimes that's the obvious thing in wrestling, and we ignore it because it is obvious, but the whole reason it's obvious is because it's obvious. What? It's not like Randy hasn't given a bunch back ever since he has returned to WWE. He put Gunther over strong twice, or maybe once, but the whole point it did tie in. And while I am talking to you before Crown Jewel, even though you may see this video after Crown Jewel, I'm convinced he's going to lose to Kevin Owens too, which is also going to tie into this feud. It's like reading a book. I just think sometimes you don't have to worry about making a new guy, even more so because in 2024 we've made a lot of new guys, especially when we're on the clock. Now, listen, I'm sure Randy Orton can go for a long old time, but he did go away for a year and a half, so you never know. This ties into my big sadness with AEW. Do you know how much I wanted to see CM Punk versus Bryan Danielson in a main event on All Elite Wrestling? And they were going to do this. Bryan has spoken about it. Everything happened with CM Punk, and now we're never going to get it again. I'm leaving. So I've said this for a while. I do think it's my most anticipated feud that WWE can do. And if you're really smart, you can actually use all the WrestleMania nonsense to make it even better. Also, if Triple H already has this in his mind, he's probably going to run with it. That's been one of the best things about his reign. He believes in the long-term narrative. It's also a huge reason why it's been of massive benefit to elevate the Intercontinental title and US championships, because now, even though we do have all these new stars running around, they can be fighting for those belts. So when you do need to do something a little bit more, I don't know, old school or with more gravitas, you can, and everybody can still have a piece of the pie. So as much as I do love Cody Rhodes, and I am basically in love with him in 2025, if I could control the book, as us geeks like to say, I would absolutely make Randy Orton my WWE champion. I mean, it's just going to be so damn entertaining, and I'm so sure of that you can shave my head if it doesn't go down. What else are you going to do with Randy in 2025? Obviously, we're going to get to the Cody feud eventually. We're already teasing it. Every time Orton's in the ring, he looks at that belt like I look at mine. I am going to stop it eventually. Give me a few months. So why shouldn't he win, especially if it ties into somewhat of a heel turn? I mean, I'm sure Randy Orton would come up with something better than this, but he just booted Cody right in the testicles and pinned him. I actually think you get somewhat of a split. Maybe 75% of people would be devastated. How could you do this to us, Randy? You were meant to be the chosen one. And there's always that 25% to be like, ha ha, I'm so happy. Screw you, American Nightmare. But once again, when you get that energy, it just makes for some good wrestling. So it is right at the top of my list, and I'm actually excited about it. And I will go on social media and moan if I don't get it, because that's what we do. But more importantly, please do like the video, share the video and subscribe, and leave me a comment in there. You get to choose too. I'm handing you the magical powers. If you could pick anybody in WWE to win the World Championship in 2025, who do you pick? You can be stupid too. You can say Dominic Mysterio. Actually, if we're talking about 2026, I'd probably give it to Dom too. Shh. Also, please do click the video on the screen to carry on your YouTube journey. It actually sounds horrible, but you should do it anyway. And otherwise, thank you very much, my friends. I appreciate the fact you let me do this silliness. Makes me warm and fuzzy in my tum-tum. Goodbye.